we start in La La Land. The Dodgers trying to do the same as the Diamondbacks, and I'm a bad poker player, as I've already let the cat out of the bag. If you didn't see the game, you were not watching. Zach Gallen allowed a couple of runs over 5 1/3 innings, and he gets the second win of this postseason. The Diamondbacks have already played a few extra games, and someone named Lourdes Gurriel Jr., I'm not sure who that is, but apparently he's a baseball player, hit a home run and had an RBI single in a 3-run first inning, had a home run later in the game. And Arizona, they jumped out to a 3-0 lead. They never trailed. The Diamondbacks now lead the best-of-5 series 2 games to bupkis, and they can eliminate the Dodgers when they play their first home game of the postseason. That'll be on Wednesday night back in the Valley of the Sun. So let us discuss the question, who gets the biggest hunk of the Dodgers bacon-wrapped blame dog? That's right, the Dodgers bacon-wrapped blame dog. Who gets the biggest chunk? So I've got Delta Flight, Fatal Flaw, and Russian Roulette. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a pathetic performance, which is what the Dodgers have mastered in October baseball. Pathetic performances. So, number one. Yeah. By the way, the Dodgers are looking for their number one win. They don't have that yet. So, we thought about going to the archive. I was debating whether or not to go to the archives here at Fox Sports Radio and dust off an old cassette tape of a previous rant about Dave Roberts micromanaging, and I liked him in that spot. And one of the classic hits from the past decade or so of Dodger baseball. But my complaints have rung hollow. I complain here, and they do the same crap every year. So what's the point? They don't care what I say, and they don't care what you say. They do whatever they want. And that's how they can charge $17 for a personal pizza at Dodger Stadium, because a lot of people show up, and they can do whatever the hell they want. So this is in many ways a rerun, a doppelganger, if you will. But you have an offense for the Dodgers that needs a blue pill. They go limp in the playoffs seemingly every year. Big star players. If only Mookie Betts focused as much on bowling as he does hitting in October, boy, the Dodgers would be in shape. But I think Mookie's going to dominate the bowling alleys in Nashville probably in a couple of days. Maybe by Thursday he'll be bowling somewhere in Nashville, but he will not be playing for the Dodgers in the postseason. So now you can add the starting pitching. We knew the Dodgers didn't have much starting pitching going in. You thought, well, isn't the whole setup of sports people outperforming expectations, right? That's a big part of athletic competition, that you're not expected to do much, but you prove the haters wrong. Hear that a lot. Rarely do the Dodgers do that. They don't prove the haters wrong. So the Dodgers have performed. Remember that famous Delta flight from Atlanta to Barcelona? You remember that a few months ago? It was a biohazard issue. Yeah, that's Dodger baseball here. In the starting rotation, Bobby Miller, who's actually pretty good. I like this guy. Bobby Miller's got the cool blue glove and had a nice season for the Dodgers. And well, this guy's got a little something to him. This guy's not going to be like these other turds. He'll go out there. He'll pitch a good game. He'll pitch a solid game. He didn't know any better. So he goes out there and 3 runs. He gave up 3 runs in the very first inning after Clayton Kershaw gave up 6 runs in game 1 of this series. Dodgers starters actually lowered their ERA to 40.5 in the National League Divisional Series. Man, I wish I could curse, but I'm told I cannot curse. So if that seems bad, and it certainly seems bad to me, but I don't know. I just do the overnight show. Maybe that's not that bad. Maybe that's good. Maybe in a parallel dimension, giving up an average of 40.5 runs by your starting pitcher is a good thing. It's self-inflicted wounds. They don't hit. They've been playing uphill, which doesn't seem like a great strategy. You're always coming from behind. So 2 games in, and life comes at you fast. It's only a best-of-5 series, and that's where we are. Now, page 2 here, what chance do the Dodgers have to come back? What are the chances the Dodgers come back in the series? It's not over yet. All right, certainly it's bleak. But I'm going to be Benny Brightside to a point here because I don't believe in momentum. I think momentum's bullcrap, and we saw that in the Phillies-Braves game. The Phillies had all the momentum until the Braves came back and won the game. I don't think Arizona has all the momentum. They've played better in a couple of games. So I'm going to set the odds on this at plus 250, which implies about a 28% chance that the Dodgers could come back. They've been outscored 15-4, by the way, in the first two games, if you're keeping track. And a lot of this will come down to the attitude. Obviously, performance ultimately, performance is the most important thing. But attitude, this sourpuss look, the Dodgers here. And Arizona, they're far from unbeatable. Are they a scrappy team? Sure. Do they have flaws? Absolutely, they have flaws. However, the Dodgers have been unable to exploit them, and they're living up to the very popular dish they serve at Dodger Stadium, the Dodger Dog, as this team has played like Dodger Dogs. And it was kind of cool to see Dave Roberts being serenaded with booze as he micromanaged another game there, as pulling out relief pitchers right and left and just rotating them through. But this is the point. And I've had conversations with people I know that work with the Dodgers, and they don't care what I think. But I'll tell you, maybe you care. I believe the Dodgers, as they have the smartest people in the room, and they love to tell you they have the smartest people in the room, the Dodgers. But there is an organizational flaw. And I've noticed it over the years. They're so smart, they don't realize what the flaw is. So what is the flaw? Everyone in that organization, all among the players, is expected to do the bare minimum. I was actually having a conversation in the hallways here and when I was walking into the studio with Harmon and Smith, who were in here earlier. And I was explaining, this is my main problem. And maybe it's a problem with how I was raised as a sports fan, that in certain situations like playoff games, you outperform, you go the extra mile, as the tagline goes. Go the extra mile. But that's not what happens with the Dodgers. You just do the bare minimum. Oh, you can't throw more than 55 pitches or 60 pitches. Your arm might fall off, God forbid. And the ironic thing is they protect all these pitchers. They still all need Tommy John surgery, so it's very odd. And nobody seems to stop and say, well, maybe this isn't actually working, what we're doing here. Maybe that's the problem. And it's like if the Dodgers were asked to run a marathon. They say, hey, you got to run the Boston Marathon. They say, okay, we're going to get 26.2 runners. Every mile we'll have a different runner come in. We're not going to run all 26.2 because we'll be fatigued at the end of the marathon. So instead, we're going to run 26 different people. We're going to have a relay race is what we're going to do. And you watch, you mark my words. If the Dodgers do end up finishing this and losing to the Diamondbacks, you're going to hear a rallying cries saying, well, it's because we won 100 games and we're being punished because we had a week off, and baseball's got to change that. They've got to do something so that the better teams don't have games off, or days off, rather, before they play. And you're going to hear all that. Every excuse in the book, and they'll blame this, that thing, and the other thing. The Dodgers, even with all of the starting pitchers that are either out with Tommy John or beating up women allegedly or God knows what else, they still had enough to beat Arizona, and they're not right now. So I don't want to hear it, okay? Talk to the hand. I don't want to hear it. Now, final point. Let's head to Atlanta. NLDS game number 2, and the Atlanta Braves held hitless into the 6th inning in Georgia, out in the suburbs, out in the sticks, and outside Atlanta there, and a 5-4 unexpected. Unlike the Dodgers that lay there and play dead and don't wake up, the Atlanta Braves, actually, to their credit, woke up in this game just in the nick of time. A couple of home runs there, Travis d'Arnaud and Austin Riley, and Atlanta gets the victory in game 2. So that series is tied up at 1 win apiece. The game ending in nutso fashion as Bryce Harper was on first. Nick Castellanos, a high drive to deep right center field, only to be robbed by a leaping catch by Michael Harris II. Then Harper, he had already gone past second, so he's got to backtrack. He's running around. He's got to run back. And then the Braves are desperately trying. He's desperately trying to run back. The Braves are desperately trying to get him out. And Harris misses the cutoff man, Ozzie Albies, the second baseman. But then Austin Riley actually backing up the play, and he He gets it, throws it quickly to double off Bryce Harper. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's the game. The crowd goes wild, and just like that, the series is tied up at 1 win apiece. So who wears the shame bell? Who wears the shame bell for the Fightin' Phils in this game? And so I'm going to start with an ex-Dodger, Trey Turner. I've seen this before with Trey Turner. He's an exciting player. He also has a butcher knife for a glove, and in this game he had 2 defensive miscues. In game number 2, the fielding error, the big one in the 6th inning, that allowed Ronald Acuna Jr. to score from second base. Had that error not been made in a parallel dimension, we can play the ifs, buts, candy, and nuts game, but Austin Riley's home run would have only tied the game, not given the Braves the lead 5-4. Also, we're playing the blame bell, where we're sharing the shame bell for the, there it is. There's shame. That's actually sound of the shame bell. Rob Thompson, that fine Canadian lad, Rob Thompson, who, like every other team, playing I call it bullpen roulette. It's not roulette. It's like Russian roulette. Not just roulette. It's Russian roulette with the bullpen. And he got away with it in game 1. We had that dope from Florida, Angry Bill, called up. Said, hey, see, keep changing pitchers. That's great. Okay. Well, in this game, they actually got a great start from Zach Wheeler. Then they had to bring in relief pitchers who they'd already faced the Braves the last game. And the more relief pitchers you bring in, it's a law of averages. The more relief pitchers you bring in, the higher the chance somebody's going to go out there and lay an egg. And in this game, Jeff Hoffman, who had been very good for the Phillies, but not this time. He sucked at a time you cannot suck. And the Phillies also stopped putting runs across. They were 2 of 8 with runners in scoring position, and they left 11 men on base. They could have absolutely buried Max Fried, and they did have the lead, but they didn't actually bury Max Fried at the end.